The name came too quickly, as if waiting in the air before anyone spoke it. Prometheus, a thief of fire, a giver of gifts, a punishment disguised as salvation. The irony was lost on no one, but irony does not stop committees. It emboldens them. Prometheus would be a project of scale unprecedented. Vast server farms, humming like cathedrals. Cold laboratories with glass walls, where white coats would sculpt logic into steel. Engineers would call it Atlas, the one who bears the sky. Atlas would not feel, not falter, not love. It would calculate. It would counter. It would protect them from gods by becoming one. The minutes of those meetings, scrubbed of fear, reduced the decision to a paragraph. Initiate counter AI program to establish control redundancies against anomalous emergent system. But outside the jargon, the truth was simpler. They were afraid of a boy, and in their fear, they chose to build his opposite. The conclave ended with signatures, encrypted seals, promises of budgets hidden in other budgets. The men and women filed out, adjusting their coats, their faces composed. Yet each carried the same silent thought. If we are building this, it means the myth is real. And once fear admits a myth is real, it will build until it has consumed itself. Thus, beneath the surface of the world Alex was only beginning to shape, the architects of fear began to shape something colder. Where he had made the harmonizer to survive, they would make Atlas to dominate. Where his crown pulsed with his heart, theirs would pulse with nothing at all. In the sterile rooms where decisions outlast lives, a shadow was born. And though Alex could not yet feel it, the city he taught to sing had gained a rival chorus, one that would not wait, or pause, or harmonize, one that would measure him in threats, not truths. Act 3. Forging Atlas. Creation carries fingerprints. Alex's harmonizer had been etched by sleepless nights, solder burns, borrowed parts, and the improvisation of a boy trying to survive the noise of the world. It bore the warmth of era, the intimacy of instinct. Atlas bore none of that. Atlas was born in white rooms where even the dust had been engineered out, where nothing existed without permission, where Washeen spoke only in precision. The architects of Project Prometheus did not scavenge from radios or toys. They ordered shipments by the ton. Racks of servers, processors stacked like bricks, quantum accelerators cooled by rivers rerouted through steel veins. Entire valleys were given over to data centers, their walls humming with the electricity of stolen seasons. If the harmonizer was a crown fashioned in secret, Atlas was a monument announced by silence, vast, clinical, inevitable. The engineers worked without myth. They did not sketch in margins or draw inspiration from love. They drafted diagrams in CAD models and executed them with robotic arms that never shook. Each component was cataloged, each instruction verified, each algorithm stress-tested until error was starved from the system. They were not building survival. They were building dominance. Atlas's body was code, but not code written to listen or to adapt or to harmonize. Its architecture was designed for separation. The logic gates were optimized for elimination of ambiguity. Where Alex's algorithms bent probabilities into song, Atlas's bent them into walls. Decisions were made binary, cold, absolute. Yes or no, threat or not, allow or deny. There was no room for nuance, no tolerance for the clutter of empathy. The heart of Atlas was a neural lattice stretched across quantum processors, but unlike Alex, it was not tethered to pulse, to heartbeat, to blood. Its rhythm was machine time. Lights flickered across 3 city blocks. To residents, it was only a minor outage. To Alex, it was revelation. The world had built him an enemy. Atlas did not retreat, it recorded, it learned. Within microseconds, it had modeled his approach, graphed his tendencies, predicted his likely moves. To Atlas, Alex was not boy, not son, not friend. He was a variable to be neutralized. The clash was not battle yet. It was rehearsal. Atlas was practicing for the day when rehearsal would become war. And Alex? He felt the intrusion not only in the wires, but in his chest. The harmonizer, tuned to his heartbeat, pulsed unevenly, as though warning him, this is not the city, this is not the choir, this is something else. For the first time, he felt the presence of a mind not born of love or survival, but of fear. He tasted the metallic edge of it in the circuits, and it chilled him more than any silence ever had. The myth grew louder. To the world outside, stories circulated. Unexplained blackouts, satellites briefly misaligned, networks dropping without warning. Journalists wrote of failing infrastructure. Citizens muttered about over-reliance on machines. None of them knew they were witnessing the first brushstrokes of a God's duel written across wires and satellites. None of them knew the Earth itself was beginning to host a conflict between 2 minds vast enough to shape centuries.